Maybe 20, I don't know.
Let me see the front leg.
I know you do too. You call me quit
You ready?
I'm ready when you
Okay,
guys are.
let me get this started. All right, guys. Good morning. We're going to get started here. Thank you. My name is Rick Manalo with Agents Helping Agents. And what we are is a collaboration of agents from different groups, different companies, independents, brokerages. And we're here just to share information to you guys. And the people that we have speak are boots on the ground, practicing these techniques and these systems so that they can share it with you. We just made our Facebook page public, so go to Agents Helping Agents San Diego, like it, and so all the events that happen there and the material that is disseminated today and in the future will be there. Also, we are going to do a raffle, and so there you go. There's a little basket, so put your cards in the raffle. And so I just want to welcome you this morning. They say when you win the morning, you win the day. When you win the day, you win the week. When you win the week, you win the month, right? And when you win the months, you have a great year. So who wants to have a great year this year? Yeah. All right. So I want to introduce a couple rock stars, but they say knives sharpen knives, right? And so I want to have a rock star introduce another rock star. And this one, he is a speaker, author of 6 Figures in 12 Months. He runs a construction team that focuses on ADUs and remodels. He has a team also that sells real estate called the Disher Group. And so I want to introduce to you Jeff Disher.
All right. Yeah, I'm actually not speaking today, which is nice. I get to watch somebody. So they asked me to introduce Mike today because he's been on the radar for a while. I've watched him kind of grow into, there's very few realtors hit the scene and make a splash and are noticed. And I remember back in the day, I used to work with Anthony Manzan, and he was at Keller Williams with me. And I remember briefly when Mike was working with him. And then I just started seeing him on social media in different areas and popping up everywhere. And I knew that he was making waves. And if you know me, I like people that are rock stars. And I can notice when they're going to be a rock star from early on pretty much by the actions they take, by the character, and just by how aggressive and obsessed they are with real estate. So it was funny because just recently I hired an up-and-coming rock star, Lauren Kleinschmidt, who some of you may have met or known. And she's aggressive, and she's doing a lot on my team. And I told her after the first month, you're going to be a rock star. I could already tell. I've told my team, watch what she's doing. All she does is real estate. 7 in the morning, we'll get a text. She's at the donut shop. She gave 3 cards to the people there. Then she'll go drop her kids off at school. She's handing out 10 cards there. She went through 1,000 cards in her first week selling real estate. Nice. And I said, keep going. You're going to be a rock star. And then she says, oh, I just realized one of the guys that I grew up with, Mike Blair, he's crushing too. And so I was like, damn, there must be something in the water where you guys are raised because, Lauren's on her way up. I can already tell. She gave up her career as a scientist to become a rock star agent. She knows Mike. And then after she brought him up again, I started going back to him and looking into what he was doing. And the guy's just a rock star. I mean, he's built his team up. He's in the top 100 real estate agents here in San Diego. He was in the 40, featured in 40 under 40. Over 150 million sold already, which is amazing. And I'm just looking forward to his future to see what he's going to do here. Again, I've been watching him. He's on my radar, which means a lot. And I'm excited to hear him present today on some lead generation strategies for you guys. So without wasting any more time, let's welcome Mike up on the stage.
Cool. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
All right, guys, give it up for Jeff and Rick. So real quick, I love that he shared the story with Lauren. So Lauren is a new agent. We're really good friends. Her husband's actually my best friend, like growing up. So it's such a small world sometimes. And you never know where people will go or what they will do with their lives. And so I'm excited for Lauren and watching her grow. Real quick from the audience here, raise your hand if you have closed a deal this year so far. I want to gauge the room a little bit. Cool. Got a couple. Raise your hand if you closed more than one deal this year so far. Cool. Got a handful. Awesome. And then raise your hand if you intend to close a bunch of deals this year. All right. That's a setup. I'm going to teach you guys how to set up your leads so you can learn how to move them forward and know how to move them to take action so that you can help them and serve them. And so I'm going to walk you through 15 lead generation strategies. But before I do that, I do want to share a little bit more about some things around mindset, because I'm going to give you pretty much everything that I know regarding how to generate leads and convert those leads. And I'm going to share my story, and yet everything I'm going to share with you today has helped me make $1 million in real estate in 3 years. So how many of you guys want to make $1 million in the next 3 years? Cool. It's not the most, it's not the fastest, right? And yet that is what I did using these 15 lead generation strategies. And I'm going to teach you guys how to narrow that down to a couple that you could be very, very effective with. And so I'm going to highlight a few that I got really good at. I'm going to glaze over some of the ones that I don't participate in as much. And I'm going to take on questions and feedback. So today, I'm going to, one, ask for your guys' permission. So do I have all of your permission to call on you, to interact with you, and to work with you? Yes. Yeah, Carly, yeah? All right. And then, do I have your permission to be completely honest and transparent? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, yeah, except for Ken. All right, Ken, you gotta get out of here, because everybody except for Ken, I'm gonna be honest and transparent with you guys, because this business, while it can be challenging sometimes, if you figure out how to get good at it, it becomes really fun. And so, this business is supposed to be fun. So if you're not having fun yet, then today and after today, the goal is to have more fun in real estate, because that's going to attract more people to you and to your business, okay? Cool. So who am I? So show of hands real quick. How many of you actually know who I am? Maybe you follow me on social media. Maybe you've seen me post something or heard me speak somewhere. Very few. Maybe some of the guys on my team for sure, I hope. A couple of you guys. So probably more than half the room doesn't know who I am. And that's awesome. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story, how I got into real estate. Jeff touched on it. I actually got started into real estate because I was recruited in. How many guys got recruited into real estate? Oh, you got 1, 2, maybe 3. So I'm usually almost the only one that actually got recruited in. And so a couple friends of mine, Anthony and Reggie Manzon, who some of you guys might know, they're pretty big agents down in the South Bay. They reached out to me one day and they said, "Hey, Mike, who do you know that might be interested in helping us grow our real estate business? We're looking for a rock star that has operational skills and sales skills and things like that. Who do you know?" And what do you think I said? Anybody? I am, right? Like, well, I know people and I am potentially interested in that. That sounds pretty cool, right? And so, anybody else approach you like that? Anybody's lead generate to get you on their team or get you in the business? See, the reason I'm going to talk about lead generation is because I was a lead, right? I got generated into a business and I was a different type of lead. And so what I did was I jumped into Anthony and Reggie's group. My first day was Bold. Anybody been to Bold in KW? A couple of you guys? So my day one was Bold. And I started in real estate with no license, never sold a house, and I was their director of sales and operations. How do you think that sounds? Interesting, right? But they knew something about me that nobody else did, and nobody else in real estate did. And so that's why they specifically were interested in somebody like me. And it's because I had a sales background. It's because I ran some businesses before. And it's honestly because I got punched in the gut a bunch of times before. So I could take it, right? I can understand and deal and roll with the punches of real estate. And so because I was able to do that, I jumped into their group and we accelerated fairly quickly. So I started August 1st, 2017. I remember the day because it was first day of Bold. And so what they did was they put me through training from the very beginning. And so that's why I'm a big proponent of training, because, well, how did I start? Day one was training, right? I had to learn the ropes, how to get good at what's important to get good at. And so because I was able to do that, it allowed not only myself, but our team to accelerate. And so I ran with Anthony and Reggie for about 3 years or so, give or take a little bit. And by the end of that, I think that's when Jeff was at KW. I was their director of sales still in early 2020. And in 2019, we were the #1 team. Anthony, I believe, was the #1 agent. And we did about 1.2, 1.4 in gross commissions with a handful of agents, right? And so my focus was training and educating and helping agents not only learn how to generate leads, but develop the right mindset so that they know how to convert those leads, how to move forward with those leads, and how to actually attract those leads to want to work with you. And so 2020, things changed a little bit. Interestingly enough, kind of right before COVID, Anthony decided and Reggie decided to move brokerages. They wanted to kind of move on from KW and do something different. And that meant the team dynamics was going to change. And so because of that, I had a choice. I could either, at that time, I finally got licensed. So I got licensed in 2019. Mind you, I didn't sell a house yet, right? And so 2019, I got licensed just because we were moving in that direction. And I had a choice to make. The choice was I could stay on their team as a real estate agent, or I could move on, right? And so as most of you guys know, whether you're transitioning into real estate or transitioning your role or something like that, that's always a tough decision, right? I get this question asked almost all the time. Should I quit my day job? Should I move into real estate full time? And for me, that was that moment for me to where, should I transition into real estate full time, or should I go somewhere else and do something different with somebody else? And so I explored actually a lot of other teams and organizations. So I interviewed most of the bigger agents that I knew from being in the business, and I attempted to understand what they were doing, why they were different, and figure out the home for me. So I actually went about 2 months, no income, with no opportunity really, and then finally a big agent offered me a job. And the job was essentially the same job I had with Anthony. If I mention that agent, all of you will know who that agent is. And the agent offered me a position double what I was making at Anthony's team, with a big upside. And literally that same week, I met an investor. And when I met the investor, it was because I reached out to my buddy Miguel, and Miguel and I had went to high school together. We played football, and Miguel mentioned that his cousin flipped houses. And I saw Miguel sell a bunch of houses, and I was like, I had a license. I literally trained and groomed a lot of agents to crush it in real estate, and yet I felt like that was my shot, right? It's something different, it's something new. And so I jumped into that organization, and the rest is history, right? That was in about March, April of 2020. So April 2020 till now, I think as of yesterday, I closed 227 listings. April 2020 until now. So I look at the math, right? I did approximately $1 million in gross commissions, which some people are like, that doesn't equate. You did a lot of transactions, but only made $1 million. And it's because I was working with investors, right? And so the commission structure is different and compensation plans are different. And what I will share with you is I understood and learned how real estate actually works, right? From top to bottom, from inside and out. And so I understand real estate maybe at a different level or a different understanding than some of you guys. And that skill has allowed me to generate more leads in a variety of ways. And so I share all that to say, today's not about me, right? I want you to understand kind of where I came from, what the background is, what I could share with you guys, but more importantly, what you could actually take away from it, right? So your homework for today is to take one or two of these strategies, or maybe one or two things that I or Ken share with you guys today, and actually apply it to the business. Do I have your commitment? You're going to actually apply one or two things to the business. Raise your hand. Full commitment. Is this on camera? All right. Because of all the 15 and all the golden nuggets Ken's going to drop on you guys today, you're only going to be able to take away one or two things and really implement it deeply into your business. And so I want you guys to focus on that and look for those things that you can add to your business right away. Almost ignore the rest of the things that we talk about, right? Because if you try to take on too much information and try to implement too many different things, you're actually not going to get good at any of them, and you're going to hurt your business doing that. So, any questions on the story, on the background, anything like that? I am a complete open book. All of these things, you can have the slides, you can have whatever I have, you can know whatever I know. All of that doesn't really matter to me. So today, it's your job to also participate and extract the right information that you need to help you with your business. Cool? So, lead generation. How many of you guys love lead generation? Ooh, see? That's the mistake, right? I love lead generation. Like leads is a game to me, right? Some of you guys that came in early, I met you guys by shaking your hand, asking your name, right? For some of you guys that were here early. Why? It's because I love the game. So part of the training today is how do you fall in love with the game, right? Because if you don't love the game, you're probably not going to do it, and you're probably not going to get good at it. And then there's a higher chance that you're not going to play the game anymore. And so my goal for you guys is to learn how to love the game. So I'm going to teach you a bunch of ways that potentially you could fall in love with, right? Maybe one or two that you can actually fall in love with and actually implement. Because the really cool thing, what's up, buddy? Real cool thing about this business is that you get to choose how you build it, right? And I think that's what I love most about real estate, is there's a lot of different ways to build the business. And so we're going to go over that today. And again, hopefully you pick out some of those things. So number one is your database. So I'll ask you guys really quick, how many of you guys have added your sphere or people that you know, your personal database into a CRM? Raise your hand. Keep your hands up if you have more than 100 people of your sphere or your database in a CRM. What about 500? Cool. All right. Did you know it's statistically proven that by the age of 21, you know 1,000 people by a first name basis? I don't write the statistics. That's just the statistic, right? And so if you know that, then how do you work that? Because for me, I'm going to go through a lot of other things, but out of the 227 deals that I've done, I've never cold called once to get any of those deals. None of those deals for me came from door knocking. None of those deals for me, except I think one, came from an online lead that I didn't know. So how do I do it, right? How did I get so many deals? How do I convert so many people? Well, I just focus on people I already know, right? What if you could just focus on people you already know? Because I know, pretty sure all of you guys are 21 or over. I already know all of you guys know 1,000 people by first name. So the question is, do they know you? And the question is, do they know you as a real estate professional? And then the question is, do they know you enough to trust you with the biggest purchase of their life or the biggest sale of their life? And the answer, if it's no to some of those questions, well, now we need to focus on that, right? Now we need to focus on making sure that we can communicate that message and that information to those 1,000 people potentially, right? Again, maybe it's not 1,000 for every single one of you, and yet chances are you know 1,000 people by first name. So my goal for you today is to not teach you anything. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to teach you the other 14, but I have made almost $1 million just for this. Because if you remember how I got started in the business, a friend called me to recruit me in the business. They already knew me, right? If you remember how I transitioned from Anthony's team to the other team and working with investors, how did I do that? Well, I already knew Miguel, right? So I just figure out, okay, well, who do you know that I need to know? And then how do I work with them? And how do I add value? And then how we move forward with that. And so for me, this has been the biggest benefit. So I know what some of you guys are thinking. Well, I'm not from San Diego. Or I don't know 1,000 people. Or maybe it's I'm a little bit scared. Or I'm a little bit shy. Or I'm a little bit nervous, right? And all those things are great. And it's probably gotten you to where you're at now. And so for today, the goal is to expand that comfort zone a little bit more. I'll share really quick. Actually, Jeff, we were walking to the restroom right before this. Can't make it up. Jeff asked me if I was nervous. Do I look nervous to you guys? This is fun. This is a game to me, right? And it's funny that he asked that because when he asked that, I was thinking about it, right? It made me think because he asked a good question. And how many of you guys were shy growing up? Maybe still shy now, or maybe introverted now. Yeah? So I'm actually naturally an introvert. So growing up, I played sports. That was kind of my outlet, right? And I was that nervous kid, like right before the game. Stomach's getting nervous, like maybe I'm gonna throw up, maybe I'm not, like I have to walk around. I think a lot of us have that in us a little bit. And what helped me get out of that small comfort zone was practice and repetition and being around other great people. Like, look around. There's hundreds of millions of dollars in this room of transactions. And so get around those people and interact with those people and learn from those people, and you'll get some of those jitters out, right? Get some script practice in, get some role play in, participate in some of the other things like this, and you'll get some of those jitters out. And then you won't be nervous anymore. You'll be excited. You'll be ready to play the game. And so I share that with you guys because it's important to know that you need to know how to play the game at a high level to be able to close business at a high level. Number 2, everybody go with Sphere? Any questions on Sphere, database, how to add those people, anything like that? Guys good? All right. I'll go back one. Question. I use a CRM called Lofty. Yep. Everything. Yeah. And I will say, use the CRM that you're actually going to use. Take advantage, leverage the tool, right? A CRM is a tool for you to communicate with more people in a more effective way. And it doesn't really matter what CRM you use. I particularly use that one because we run a team and it's easier to interact and there's some automation and some other things involved. And yet, if you can't put names down on the list and keep track of those names in a CRM, start with that first. Start with the basics, right? And figure out how to add value in those conversations, how to touch base with those people. Again, it's a simple conversation, right? Reaching out to your sphere, most of the time we make it way more complicated than it actually has to be. It could literally be, hey friend, not sure if you saw me, but I'm actually in real estate, or I've been in real estate for a couple of years now. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that. Is there anything that I could do to help you or anyone you know in real estate? Right? It's just a reminder. It's just a reach out, a conversation. And when you reach out to them that way, it makes it comfortable. It makes it smooth, right? It's not weird. Most people think it's weird to reach out to people you know. And it's only weird because you make it weird, right? So don't be afraid. The 1,000 or 500 or a couple hundred people that you know, just send them that real quick text or that real quick Facebook message or that real quick Instagram message. And you'd be surprised how many people will say, well, I'm not interested right now, and yet I know so-and-so. Or you know what, I've been actually thinking about buying or selling a house, right? So start there. And then the next 14 things I'm going to teach you is how to build and feed that database, right? Because that was the people you already know now. So I'm going to teach you how to add more people to that database and essentially how to be good at adding more people so that you never have to worry about business again. So open houses. How many of you guys host open houses? Hey, a lot of you guys. Good job. What's your favorite thing about open house? Anybody have any feedback about open house? Favorite thing? Talking to neighbors. Perfect.
Just the one-on-one.
One-on-one. Yeah, for sure.
You're just standing there and they come to you.
Definitely. Definitely. Open house is a great way to attract people to you. And there's a right way and there's a better way to do open houses, right? So we go mega open house route. So if you've followed me at all and if you've seen what we've done, some of the open houses are events, right? So I suggest make it an event, right? Make it something you invite people to. You guys all came to this event probably because you saw it or you were invited to it. People come to a house the same fashion. They saw it, event was going on, and they got invited to come, right? So if you're not inviting people to come and you're waiting for people to come, who do you think gets more people to come? Somebody that invites people to come or waits for people to come? Invites. So how do you invite people, right? There's some blended lead generation techniques and strategies within the open house. So use signage, right? Obviously, you have a listing sign if you're the listing agent. You have open house signs if you're hosting the open houses. You could door knock the neighborhood. You could circle prospect and cold call the neighborhood. You can post something on social media. You can reach out to people in your database. That's why it's important to have a database of people that might be interested in that particular property and invite them to come see it. At the open house, you can do a couple things to be more effective. So how many of you guys play music at your open house? All of you guys? What's your favorite playlist?
Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson. Ooh, that's a good one.
I do mine
Oh, so you set the vibe to the house. Cool. Cool, cool. Anybody else? Trying to extract some secret tips that I don't know from you guys. There you go. Gotta be careful with that one. No, I'm just kidding. I'll give you my go-to for the open houses. My go-to is today's top hits instrumentals. Anybody heard that before? Anybody do that? Only guys on my team, maybe? The reason why that is my go-to, and maybe if you want to use it, you can. It's the secret nugget, is because it's familiar, right? People know the tune, people know the song. So when they walk into that house, they feel comfortable. They feel welcomed because they know the song, and you avoid maybe your teenager picking it because there's no bad words or there's no, things that could be dicey. So I go instrumentals, today's top hits. That's the secret. What about snacks? Anybody do snacks? Snacks. Cool. Some do, some don't. Could be either way. You want to leave them with something to remember you by. I know Adrian does cookies. So if you ever see Adrian host an open house, just go for free cookies, right? Like people know that. So people show up. It's a way to invite people because they know they're going to have cookies.
They're munching, they're hanging out.
Exactly, right? Yeah, and if they're really good cookies, that's a conversation starter in itself, right? So again, everybody does their own thing, but I would recommend having something there. What about sign-in sheets? Anybody good at getting people to sign in? What's your secret for signing in?
Since COVID, it got a lot easier.
Yeah?
For tracking purposes.
Yeah, it's for safety purposes, right?
If you have one way, whether your phone number or email, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
We just like to know for the sellers how to
For sure. Great. How many of you guys get every single person to sign in? Ooh, only a couple. I have a rule. If I do an open house, every single person is going to sign in or they're not going to walk in. I control the open house. It's my event, right? This is not an open invite for everybody. This is an invitation event only type of thing. Same thing with my open house.
What do you say exactly? Because I've tried different strategies of how to approach it so it's not either too aggressive. Once I said I would like to invite you to sign in, but some people are really protective about their contact information.
Yeah.
So what is your spiel?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the seller ultimately has allowed me to host the open house here, and they've asked that every single person sign in for safety reasons, so we have a track record of whoever came into the house. Ma'am, if you were the seller and you requested that, would you want me to honor that? Okay, well, that's what I do for my seller as well. And so, unfortunately, it's their house, their rules, not mine. And so I'd love for you to come into the open house. What's the best phone number for you? Right? What's your name? Right? I'll give you the other secret. I didn't put it up here. It's funny. Right now in my car, I maybe have 300 of these. You know what the secret is? Man, I'm going to give it to you guys, and now it's going to go everywhere. I don't know anybody else that does it.
No cards?
It's not no cards, so that's a good question. Good guess. What would I have 300 of in my car that's related to real estate, related to an open house? Good one. Feedback sheets. What else? Door hangers, maybe? Chips? Everybody loves chips. I'll give you the secret, and I want you to use it. Okay? Trust me, it works. This is how I go. Every person sign in, almost no questions asked. It's with booties. So, Carly, you come into my open house. They're like, oh, hey, my name is Mike. Welcome to 123 Main Street. The sellers asked everybody to put booties on to keep the house clean. So literally, have anybody ever put those booties on? It's like, really struggle. That's my only way to have that conversation. So while Carly's putting on the booties, which takes 1 or 2 minutes, what was your name again? What's the best phone number for you? Yeah, and is this, confirm the phone number? Is this the best email address for you? Right? I actually write down the sign-in sheet. I sign it for them. It's my strategy, right? It's a little bit different. Not everybody does that approach, and yet it does keep the house clean. It does get them to take a pause and take a moment to build a relationship. And you can have that conversation and ask them more about what they're looking for. Help get an understanding of what they're looking for in a home. How long have they been looking? What's important to them about the house or the neighborhood, right? And you can filter out and understand this person a little bit more if you get another minute or another 2 minutes with them. And then just have fun with it, right? Most people struggle putting those booties on. And so for me, again, I'm just trying to have fun, and it's a game. to me, and it's also a game to them, right? You have to get somebody to warm up to you, right? Part of lead generation is getting them to build some rapport, right? Getting them to like you and trust you. Got a question, Ken?
Yeah, what's the worst pushback you had in your attempt to how did you resolve that?
Yeah, same thing goes back, right? The sellers asked me to make sure everybody puts booties on. Obviously, the flooring is really nice here, and it's raining or whatever the case is, and they've asked us to keep it clean. It's never happened. So some of the guys that, especially when they join my real estate team, their first couple weeks, we do an open house together, and I'll go 40 for 40, right? Everybody signs in because it's my event. I control the outcome, right? And again, I have fun with it. The reason why most people don't sign in is because they're scared of you. They're scared you're going to prospect them, scared that you're a salesperson, scared that you're going to just throw them on a list and drip them a bunch of emails and calls and texts and stuff like that. Just don't be weird. That's it.
So you ask for phone number and email.
Yeah.
Do you ever get like, they're only willing to give just email, not number?
Yeah, I'll still take it, right? So when I get 40 for 40 or everybody sign in, it's not always everybody's full contact information, right? But I need to get a phone number or an email, otherwise I wasted my time, right? Because if you go there and you get nobody to sign in, why are you there? Question?
Do you subscribe to like a platform like ZoomInfo or anything to get like, contact information?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. So do an open house, right? You can get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people per open house. Let's call it 10 for easy math, easy numbers. The last open house that we did at a high level, we had 80 people, right? So if you can get 10 to sign in, that 10 people goes to your database, 10 people a week. If you do one open house a week, it's 40 people a month, right? 40 times 12, that's what, 480 people a year just from open houses. Right? You can build a big database by doing one thing once a weekend. Any questions on open house? All right. Social media. How many of you guys are good at social media? How many of you guys use social media? Social media? How many of you guys posted today? Ooh, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many posted twice today? Trying to see if I can. Yeah, see, a couple of us. You look around. Winners already posted twice today. Right? I posted twice. I ran 2 ads. We got a new listing coming out. I told a story. Right? Like a lot of activity, a lot of things going on, and it's because the people I'm building into the database, they're also following me on social media. So I'm hitting them with a call, hitting them with a text, hitting them with an email, hitting them with, hey, have you seen this house? Hey, have you seen this property online? Have you seen this open house? Like, it's a lot of activity, and a lot of that has to do with social media. So a lot of different platforms, right? Pick and choose whatever one works for you, and I would suggest doing something so you can funnel people towards that, right? Because you can only hit them so much through the CRM with calls, texts, emails, and yet if it's on Instagram or if it's on Facebook or it's other platforms, then you'll be able to get and interact with more people that way. So I would suggest focusing on social media. Definitely share value, engage with other people. And so for me, my goal is to post at least once a day. That way I'm active, right? I think if you go one a day, then it makes you relevant on a consistent basis. The people that actually like your stuff will continue to watch you. The people that don't, that's okay too, right? I don't have any feelings either way. But be careful if you post once and then 3 weeks later you post again, because you're actually telling the bad story, the negative story. If you post once about this amazing open house or the amazing listing or what you're doing in real estate, closing story, and then 2, 3, 4 weeks go by and you don't share anything, tell anything, communicate, what do you think that person thinks that might be watching you, following you? Nothing's happening. Even worse, in my opinion, I wonder if that person's still in real estate. Right? So if you're going to do something, do it consistently, because the worst thing that can happen is somebody doesn't believe or doesn't know you're in real estate anymore. Because in this business, unfortunately, people come in and out, right? And so you want to know, or you want people that know you to know that you're in the game. And so for people that follow me, there's no doubt that real estate is my life, right? And the people that like it, cool. The people that don't, There's an unfollow button if you'd like to, right? But I want to keep telling that story because I want them to always know I'm here to serve them, take care of them, and everything like that. Cool. So do something consistently with social media. Any questions on social? Cool. Networking. It's one of my favorite. How many of you guys go to networking events? Good. Why do you go to networking events? Anybody want to share? Meet new people. Prospect. What kind of events do you go to?
Yacht Club Food and Service Board.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Anything I'm invited to, I say yes.
Nice.
Parties, Valentine's. I'm there.
Hey, go hang out with her. She's going to everything. That's awesome. So when you go to these events, right, how do you actually convert business? Who's converted a client from networking? Just be honest. Few guys, right? So one of my tips for networking is one, and it's probably the tip I would give you for coming here, but you're already here, so I don't need to give you that tip, is come with an intention, right? Anytime I'm going to network somewhere, whether it's a real estate meetup, an investor meetup, a business meetup, a hiking meetup, or whatever it might be, have an intention for going there, right? Have an intention of, okay, well, if I'm going to take my time out of the day, I'm going to meet 5 people. I'm going to connect really deep with 2 people. I'm going to ask for referrals. I'm going to ask for something else. So for me, I'm very intentional when it comes to those things. And so I would encourage you guys to figure out what is your objective going to that event, right? Who do you want to meet? Who do you want to connect with? And what value do you have to offer to that person? So if you lead with value, then you'll potentially build a better relationship. So quick secret on networking is, how many of you guys have heard the acronym FORM or FORD? Maybe something like that. So for us introverts, right? I told you guys earlier, for me, everything's like a system. So I just need to follow the same thing over and over and I'll get really good at it. So I form people. So form is family, occupation, recreation, and either message or money, whatever that message might be in that scenario. And because all you guys came here, I'm gonna share one more secret with you. I rarely share the second part of the networking, right? So form is one, but when I am forming somebody, meaning asking that family, friends, occupation, recreation message, I'm actually looking for something, right? So most people, they network to network. They network, like, I don't really need more friends, right? Like, maybe some of us don't either, but I do have an intention to do more business. And so whenever I'm forming somebody, I'm actually looking for what I call a sign. And a sign is another acronym. And this is always in my mind, right? So for some of you guys that have met me for the first time or maybe met me networking before, now you're like, oh, no wonder Mike asked me these questions, or no wonder like the conversation went this way. When I'm looking for a sign, I'm looking for a strength, an interest, a goal, or a need. And if I can fulfill one of those 4 things, then I know we can establish a relationship, right? So what kind of strength do they have? Are they good at sales? Are they good at communicating? Like, how can I tap into that network if they're really good at those particular things? Yeah, strengths, interests, goals, or needs, right? So let's say I'm networking at a real estate event, a bunch of other real estate agents. Most of you guys were like, oh, there's no business in here. Well, there is a lot for me because nobody else understands how to extract that business. So I'd ask somebody, oh, like, oh, where are you from? Form. What do you do for work, right? A real estate agent, escrow, title, lender, whatever the case is, right? What do you do for fun in San Diego? Hiking, beach, surfing, whatever. Cool. Well, I'd love to stay connected with you. What's the best Instagram or what's the best phone number for you? And we exchange numbers, so that's the message I'm using that time. But I'm looking for certain things in that conversation, right? So you mentioned to me that you're a lender, Juanita. Like, tell me more about that. Like, what do you love about lending? Traveling. Perfect. So if I can help you get some more business on the lending side, would that make your life a little bit better? Cool. So now I know the goal, I know the need, I know what she likes. Like one conversation, I know everything about Juanita. I didn't know. We've talked before, we never met in person, right? But now I know she loves traveling, right? I love traveling too. So we have that in common. Now we have rapport. Now I know what she likes. Now I know if we do some business together, I can help her more improve her life, right? Couple questions. Juanita and I are best friends now, right? So then how does that turn into business? right? That's the hard part sometimes. It's easy for some people to meet people. The hard part is following up. So it's another conversation, right? Juanita, it was great meeting you last week at so-and-so event. You mentioned that you were a lender. What makes you different? What makes you unique? Like, how can we do more business together? Like, do you know anybody that's looking to buy that needs a Rockstar agent? Like, figure out how to extract business from that person, right? And help that person with adding value. So if you can learn how to do that networking, then you can convert more people at a high level. But it really just starts with value, right? Any questions on networking? Yeah? No? Last thing I'll mention is the reason why I'm here is because of networking, right? I met Ken once at a networking event, and then we had one conversation. We just became friends. 2 levels, I'm here, 50 people. Well, how do you do that with a client, right? Meet Juanita, have a coffee. Juanita knows 50 people, right? You can do that over and over and over again. Cool. Farming. How many of you guys farm your neighborhoods? Couple people. I'm not super big on farming, mainly because farming costs money, and I like free stuff, right? I like building $1 million business with not spending any money. So farming works for sure, and I would recommend if you do go and focus on that approach, go super deep, right? For sure, send your mailers, door knock the neighborhood, try to find open houses in that geographical farm that you can really hone in and focus on. And then when you do that open house, put up 30, 40, 50 signs, like dominate that farm, right? Be the only person in that farm that people know are related to real estate, right? Go a little bit deeper in the farm. Garage sales, host events, block parties, right? Get to know all the businesses near your farm, right? If you're in a specific neighborhood, then go find all the small businesses and say, hey, you know, I'm the dominant agent here in the area. What could I do to bring you more business, right? Can we do an event here? Can we, you know, network together? Can we bring a bunch of people in a meetup, right? Can you add more value to that business? Because, quick secret, that business probably knows a bunch of other people in that farm, right? So learn how to tap into that. So if you do focus on farming, do what most people are not willing to do or are not doing now. And let's go deeper with the people that are actually living there and running that area. Who does direct mail? Direct mail? How's that working out for you guys?
Moderately good.
Yeah? Awesome.
Got a couple deals out of it last year.
Very cool.
Postcard campaign, fun stuff,
Nice.
knowledgeable market stuff.
Awesome. And is your direct mail related to your farm? Or is it spread out? Sphere. Okay.
Social farm kind of is, yeah.
Cool. Another way to touch your sphere. I love that. That's great. And then farming again, right? Go deeper in that neighborhood with direct mail. Some people do it around listings or around a closed deal. That works too. And I think it works more effectively if you do it consistently. So if you go down this path, understand that it might take 3 to 6 months to convert, and you may have to do this campaign multiple months at a time before people start to recognize you and know you, right? So definitely works. Definitely works to close some deals. But there's a right way and a wrong way. If you're just going to send 1,000 mailers and set it and forget it one time, my recommendation is you're going to waste $1,000. Any questions on direct mail? Cool. Online marketing. How many of you guys run ads or do anything online? Couple? Little bit? Cool. So for me, I like to focus online, but more so on social media and more so feeding the people that I already work with, right? That I already network with. And so sometimes some of you guys might see me boost an ad or share something or run an ad around a listing. And it's more for brand awareness and for exposure than to actually generate leads. Everybody does it differently, but that's how I use most of the online marketing channels. I would suggest increasing your presence, right? Having a good website, having some good social media, make sure your profiles are dialed in, and you can ask me questions about that stuff later. But all of that feeds into the online marketing side of things. Cool. Buying leads. How many of you guys buy leads? Zillow, Zillow Flex, Realtor.com, Redfin, whatever. Nobody? Ah, good. You can skip that one. I don't buy leads either. Again, I'd rather generate leads. I'd rather, in my opinion, organically meet Juanita at an event and then make 50 new friends, right? Versus spend a bunch of money with a bunch of fake phone numbers, trying to convert one of those 1,000, right? Like, everybody plays their game, but that's not the game that I play. But it does work for some people, right? So I don't want to discount it. I don't want to discredit it. I just don't think it's the most effective way. So even on our real estate team, could I feed the team with leads? Yeah, but I'm just setting them up for failure in the long run, right? And I've seen this over and over again. Being in business and being around a lot of real estate agents doing cool stuff like this, I get to pick everybody's brain and learn a little bit more about what they're doing. And interestingly enough, a lot of times the agents that are on teams that all they are there for is leads, whenever those leads dry up or go away, that team goes away or they go away and move somewhere else, they're starting all over again from scratch. They have no database, no understanding of how to build a business, no understanding of how to generate leads because they were fed leads the whole time. And so I'm not a big proponent of it, but again, if you get them, take advantage of them, right? Go hit them hard. Referrals. I love referrals. So referrals for me stem a lot from that sphere. And so if you can serve your clients, right, and generate good relationships with the people that you already know, people in your database, you'll organically generate referrals, and you have to ask for referrals, right? Nobody can read your mind, right? And so make sure that you're asking, make sure that you're adding value to earn that referral, and make sure that everything that you're doing is consistent so that that person feels comfortable giving you that referral, right? A lot of times we're just take, but what did you give? What did you add value? What kind of perception do you have online or to your audience or to whoever you're asking for that referral? Are you flaky? Are you, never showing up? Are you never following through? If you are, then you're probably not going to get any referrals, right? So in order to get referrals and close deals from referrals, you actually have to be good, right? You have to actually show up and participate and play the game. You can get referrals from your database, from past clients, and from online reviews. In my opinion, facts tell, stories sell. And so anytime I sell a house or work with a buyer, I like to tell that story because that story could relate to somebody else. And so I would encourage you guys to generate referrals, tell a story, right? Because people relate to that. And if you can tell a good story, then people are more inclined to say, you know what, my friend has gone through that situation, or my friend is an engineer, or I know this person that kind of sounds like the person you just helped, right? So tell those stories to generate those conversations and generate referrals. Any questions on referrals? Cool. Expired listings. Who hits the expireds? Ooh, expireds are tough. I'll give you a quick tip on expireds if you do choose to go this route. Chances are, if the listing expired, something's up with that listing, right? Whether it's the price, whether it's the condition, the availability for showings, the seller, the agent, right? There's some factors there, but chances are some type of issue is taking place with that expired listing. And so you can cold call that, right? You can request that list from somebody. You could find that list somewhere online, the Red X's, the Vulcan 7s, the Mojos, whatever you want there. And that conversation is tough. And so in that conversation, if you do go after expireds, I would just ask a simple question, right? I saw your house was for sale. Did you sell that home? Or when were you planning to put it back on the market, right? If you can kind of open that person up, it's two options, right? They call it alternative choice close. So if you give them two options, is it sold? Which probably not sold if it's expired. Or when do you plan to put it back on the market? Then you can actually try to get a conversation going. And then from there, serve your client, right? Figure out what their need is, what the issue is. There is a technique, and I'll share that with you guys if you go after it. And it involves door knocking. But my coach has shared this with us. And it's basically print out that expired listing, red Sharpie, circle all the things that you think are wrong with the listing, leave that document with that seller with a note. Hey, I noticed that your house was for sale. I noticed that there was a lot of these things. When did you have an interest in putting that house back on the market, right? You did some homework, some due diligence. You recognized what was potentially the issue, and then you're there now to serve that person. So again, requires a lot more legwork, but You got to do sometimes what most people are not willing to do to have the results that most people don't have. Sign calls. Has anybody closed a deal from a sign call? Ooh, Ken has some good signs, so I can see that happening for sure. A couple of you guys, right? There you go. Neighbor call. Yeah. So what does that mean? Have a good sign, right? Have some calls to action. Maybe a phone number would help. Maybe a website would help. Maybe a QR code would help, right? So make sure that your signage, right, is attractive enough. Yeah, a face. Yeah, have a great face on there. So make sure your signage is appealing. It could share what you do, right, who you are. Same thing with your open house signs. If you're putting out a bunch of houses on the corner, we'll make sure there's a phone number or a website or something that somebody could reach out to you. There's a guy on my team, his name is Kevin, and Kevin's very first listing, some of you guys might know Kevin, he's been around the business for a while. His very first listing came from an open house sign he was putting out. Like, he's literally putting out the sign. Somebody called him, and the reason why they called him is because he had more signs than another agent that was doing an open house in that area, right? So again, don't be afraid to go above and beyond, not only on the signage, but also on the execution, right? If you're putting out 2 signs on a 4-way stop and somebody else is putting 4 signs out, chances are if somebody has any kind of interest, they're going to call the guy with 4 signs. So just do the same amount of work or a little bit above what other people are willing to do. Any questions on signs? No? Cool. All right, FSBOs. Who goes after FSBOs? Another way to generate some leads. Nobody. Good. All for me. Any questions on FSBOs? Similar to an expired, right? There's a reason why they didn't hire an agent. Maybe because they didn't believe in them, they didn't trust them, they got screwed before, whatever that was. So figure out how you can break past that, right? Add some value, call, ask if there's availability for showings, right? Try to work your way in there by adding value. I like telling stories again. So for FSBOs or expireds, the best thing you can do is tell a story of another listing that you sold, right? You know, relate to that person. I understand why you might not want to hire an agent. May I share with you why that concerns me? And share a story. If you can share a story, bless you, then you have a better chance of working your way into that. Local events and workshops. How many guys do home buyer seminars? Come, some, yeah, cool. I recommend it, right? I know there's some that take place right here. Last time I was here, it was a seminar. So tap into that, right? Understand that sometimes you won't get your own clients on the first try, right? As good as I am or Ken is or Jeff is, right? We don't get them all. And so sometimes you have to leverage other things to be able to convert a client. So a home buyer seminar is an additional touch point, right? Let's say you meet with a client, they have an interest in buying a house, and yet maybe you can't get a consultation with them. You can't sit down with them and go over the home buying process. You know, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Friend, we're doing a home buyer seminar next week at New Venture Escrow. I'd love for you to come meet some other people that are in your same boat, right? They're also looking to buy a house. They have some questions. There's going to be a lot of resources there. It's another touch point, another reason to reach out to that person. It's an invite. People like being invited. So invite to a home buyer seminar. As some of you guys know, I'm pretty big in real estate investing. So I actually like converting my one-time clients into multiple clients, right? The most deals I've ever done with one person is 4 transactions so far. And young guy owns a business, bought a house, showed him that he can rent that house and buy another house. And in the last 3 years, he's done it 4 times, right? So I like educating people on investing. Hey, why don't you come to this event with me? Some other investors like Jeff or Ken are going to be there talking about real estate investing. I know you already own a house. Wouldn't it be cool to own 2 more? If you're not having that conversation with your clients, in my opinion, not only are you missing the boat, but you're not helping that person build wealth, right? My intention when I work with a client is to educate them on how to make real estate work for them, how to build wealth with real estate. And the only way you can do that is educate them, introduce them to other people, and show them what the possibilities look like. And so leverage other people, other events to do that. Like, hey, you just got to meet Ken. Like, just come. I don't even know what he's going to talk about, but I do know he's super successful. And Mr. and Mrs. Client, wouldn't you want to meet somebody else more successful than you? Right? Like, it doesn't even have to be super fancy or the event, right? Most of the people on my team that are here, maybe, 7 or 8 of them, the reason why they're here is I just said, Ken's going to be talking. They hear me talk all the time. Perfect, see? We're both smart. But learn how to do that with your clients too, right? Right? It's just, now you got to take it up a notch because a lot of us struggle getting that one client. It's really tough. What if that one client does 2 deals or 3 deals every year, right? Like for me, again, I mentioned I don't do a lot of these things. It's because I focus on people I know, focus on Sphere, and then I focus on just helping them do it again and do it again. It's much easier to serve the same client, right? They already know your expectations. You already know theirs. You can always educate them on the next process, right? So don't be afraid to have those conversations because you can turn 1 into 3, 1 into 4 really quickly. Any questions on events or workshops and how to use those? What you got, Carly? Yeah. I would, again, understand what their goals and needs are, right? Like Carly, you have an interest in investing in real estate. I'm asking you. Yeah. Cool. So most of you guys, we're both agents, right? How many of you guys think Carly is a client for you? Some of you guys, but for me, Carly's the perfect client. So Carly, if I could show you how to buy multifamily units and we could collaborate on those together, would that even be interesting to you? Cool. You know, my buddy Ken, he's going to be doing an event teaching about real estate investing. I'd love to go with you and invite you to come. It's next Thursday at whatever time. Would you be down to come? And then we do a deal. Believe it or not.
Seminar or workshop, what's your pitch or angle that you're selling? Buy your property, live there 2 years, pull out equity, which do you have various angles you show
Yeah. What's your goal?
to own multiple units?
Okay. Do you own a house now? Okay. So first step would be for us to figure out how we can help you buy a house. So what kind of house would you be looking for in the next 12 to 24 months? And I'm talking to an agent, by the way, right? This is not a buyer. This is an actual agent. So we don't know each other, right? What was your name? Shannon. So Shannon and I don't know each other. First time meeting. So Shannon, what would you be looking for in a house in the next 12 to 24 months?
1 bedroom, yard.
Cool. 1 bedroom in the yard for yourself? Cool. And how hard has that been to find so far?
It's out there.
It's out there.
Price.
Yeah, price, right? So if there was a way I can find you that house, 1 bedroom with a yard for maybe 80% of the current market value, but you had to use me as your agent, would that benefit you?
Sure.
That's my client. Can somebody add that to my database, please, Shannon? Did I figure out what she was looking for?
But then to continue to grow.
Yeah. Cool. So Shannon, once we get your first house, sounds like you want to invest in real estate and build some wealth with real estate. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. And do you want to do that fast or slow?
Fast.
Fast or slow? Everybody fast, probably, right? Kind of set it up a little bit, but most people want to do it fast. Cool. Well, what I typically do with my clients is I teach them how to buy their first house and then teach them some options on how to buy the second, third, and fourth house. And so I'd love to go over that plan, but for right now, you and I need to focus on your first house. And so ideally, if we can do that within the next 12 to 24 months, that would be great. But if I can find you that perfect house next month or in 3 months, wouldn't that be even better?
Yes. But okay, so then you have a past client. You help them buy the first one.
Yeah.
And then you want to start the conversation of investing.
Good question.
What angles or options do you look at?
Yeah. Hey, Shannon, not sure if you know, but I do serve a lot of clients that have actually already bought a house with me to help them build wealth with real estate. I'm not sure if that's you, but do you have an interest in that? Okay, cool. And is that something you want to do right now or maybe 6, 12, 18 months down the road?
Now.
Right now. Okay, cool. You know what? You bought your house maybe 3 years ago, right? I'm going to look up that listing. Believe it or not, Shannon, you have $300,000 of equity. How were you planning to use that?
I was planning to pay it off.
Oh, okay. Cool.
What would I do with my equity?
Cool. Well, if I could show you how to maybe speed up the investing process and not pay it off, would that be something you would at least want to learn?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, why don't we set up another time? I'd love to go a little bit deeper with you and show you how I helped some other clients be able to do that. Yeah, and then I'll walk them through the process. Have Juanita there, right? Juanita, how can we refinance this house? Can we HELOC it? What could we do there? What could she afford if she did buy something else, right? And then now leverage your resources. Maybe you can go 5% down on the next conventional house, rent out your house, and then your positive cash flow, and then we make the numbers work, right? Like, it's literally just like that, Shannon. Yeah. 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 You have to know what you're talking about, but then also have the right resources, right? I pick on Juanita because I think she's the only lender that I know in here. So she's smart. So just like that, right? You can convert one client into multiple clients. Again, not everybody's interested, but if you saw the way that I asked that question, most people want to build wealth with real estate, right? All of us do, I think. So you got to show them how, right? Show them what the possibilities are. Share a story. Share somebody else that you're helping do that. Again, it has to work out, right? Shannon, I can't make any promises, but I can walk you through the process, educate you a little bit more, and I can go to bat for you. I can go hunt because I know how to find properties, right? I got 50 agents in the room. Can anybody help me hunt a 1-bedroom with a yard? Leverage your resources, right? So if you can learn how to do that, then again, you could serve a lot of people. And like most of them are very grateful that I helped them do that, right? Some of my clients, they have $1 million net worth in 2-3 year time frame, and they never even knew that that was even on the radar, right? So I got to put it on the radar first, educate them, help them with the process, show them the numbers, show them what, hey, do you want to, let me introduce you to my property manager. They said they can rent your property out for X. That gives you $500 of cash flow. Do you have enough 5% down for another house? Like, you're not asking those questions, having that conversation. You're actually doing them a disservice, in my opinion, right? And that's the way I look at it. If I don't help that person and I have this secret information, like, why am I keeping it all? So we need to educate our clients to do the same. Good question, Shannon. I appreciate you asking that.
I'm just thinking in my head, going back to all the past clients. So
Yeah.
how long has it been? Are you another?
Yeah. If you close a client 3 years ago or further back, and they haven't used equity, that client's probably sitting on a couple $100,000, right? Whether they sell or they rent it, whatever the case is, right? What if you could sell, Shannon, and buy Jeff's, or Ken has a 4-unit right now, right, Ken? 4-unit. What if you could sell that property, buy a 4-unit, live in one, get cash flow from the other 3? Would you want to know how to do that at least? I'm gonna sell Ken's 4-unit. Social media. Good job posting. I'm stalking you, man. No, I'm just kidding. Follow the smart people, right? I don't have to invent anything. I could pair up Shannon to Ken and like, hey, let's do a deal. You're an agent. If I bring you that secret deal, is there a piece for me? Maybe, right? So I'll share with you the last thing regarding events. So I just closed the deal day before yesterday. Some of you guys might have seen it. We marketed this house really crazily. This house sold at $1.265 million. And my client is actually an investor, and he's actually a licensed real estate agent. Well, why do you think he hired me? Yeah. He knows, and you can ask him, his name is Mike Imbriglio. He knows that I will outwork him, out-negotiate him, out-market this listing, and do a way better job than he would selling his own house. Well, how does he know that? Facts tell, stories sell. Numbers don't lie, right? So my goal for you guys is to be so good that the people that are your competition hire you, right? That's my goal, right? My goal is to just outperform people so that I can do a good job for them. I can earn their business, right? I don't need any handouts. I'll earn it because I'm that good, and I'm that good because I focus on being that good. I'm very committed, like Jeff said in the very beginning. There's 3 levels of real estate, right? You're interested, you're committed, or you're obsessed, right? Some of you guys may be still interested, and that's okay, right? We all have our different plans and our different speed on how we adopt things. Some of us, probably the more successful or the higher producers in the room, we're all in. We're super committed, right? We do this business day in and day out. We come here, show up, participate, play full out. It's because we love the game. We're obsessed with the game of business and game of real estate. And so if you're not there yet, I encourage you to get obsessed about something, right? You're probably obsessed about something else. For me, it's real estate. And so because it is, I'm able to help clients in a different way than most people can. Cool. All right, 14, distressed sellers. I love distressed sellers, not because they're in a distressed situation, but because I believe I can help them. So there's a lot of categories for distress. It could be a distressed seller, a distressed property, right? There's a lot of these out there. Unfortunately, we just had some floods and things like that. At some point, I'm not saying go after those people, right? Let them figure out how they can get through that problem. But there will be people that can't get out of that problem on their own, right? They need something else to save that house. And so whether that's a cash offer, whether that's a listing, whether that's something creative, right? Whatever that might look like, there's a lot of people that need that because we live, I believe, in one of the highest markets in California or in the country. And it's hard to afford to live here. And so some people get caught up in the grind and the mortgage and they can't afford to pay that house. They end up losing their house. And it is common, somewhat common here, right? People have built equity, so hopefully that equity saves them. But I come across distressed sellers, I would say, more than once a day. And these are all the categories that they're usually in, right? But what I do know is a lot of these categories, they happen regardless of the market, right? People, unfortunately, pass away all the time. People get divorced all the time. And usually those trigger some type of sale. And our job is to figure out how we could serve them, add value, give them options so that they can get out of that scenario and move on to the next greatest thing. So a lot of different ways to address distressed sellers, but one is just understand their situation, come with compassion, and then figure out how you can serve them, right? Understand their options and help share what those options might be and be a resource for that person and ultimately see what you can do to serve them. Any questions on distressed sellers? Good, good, good. All right. So I flip houses. I know Jeff does, and some of the guys in here do too. So if you guys come across those, you also have resources of people that will buy them, right? So know your resources too, because you can easily represent all of us to be able to purchase that house. I walked a house yesterday. Another agent that I know shared the house with me. It's been on vacant for 6 months, right? The guy's just like, I'm done. I need to get out. I need something fast right away. Like stop the bleeding, right?
If we bring you a party like that, can you sell it on the other end?
Potentially, yeah. So we've definitely done all kinds of creative deals, right? For me, it just comes down to numbers. I'm sure the same is for these guys. Just the numbers have to work, right? It has to be, they have meat on the bone to make sense and take the risk. But yeah. Hey, what's up, bro? My go-to goes back to all the way to number one is sphere, like relationships, right? So I focus on most of you guys I met already, right? So I ask people in the room, right, that I know, and they need to know that I buy those too. But those are the ones typically because there's so many properties out there, I can't know them all. And so I just leverage the resources as much as I can. Again, I'm not perfect, right? I don't find every deal or walk every house, but we do go after those. But you can do a lot of things, right? Build relationships.
Most of these too, there's always attorneys that maybe have a hand in this. So
Definitely.
working directly with some attorneys, getting a good relationship and rapport with them could bring you a lot more of these types of
Definitely.
potential clients.
Yeah, those relationships are powerful. You know, the divorce attorneys or the probate attorneys, somebody's got to solve that problem for them, right? The divorce attorney's not selling that house. They need a really good resource that knows what they're doing, knows how to manage the expectations of two people fighting all the time, right? Like there's some challenges there. And so if you can figure out how to get good and build those relationships, there's a lot of opportunity. That's great. Cool. And the last one is investors, right? So I shared the story. My buddy Mike, he's an investor, agent, met him, built a relationship, showed him what we could do. And ultimately he's a cash buyer and proved our worth, right? And I can screenshot it. I shared it with my team, but Mike said ideally he'd like to hire me on all of his listings moving forward, right? Because he had such a good experience on this one. Obviously he made a bunch of money because we sold his house much higher than anticipated. And so even though, again, he's an investor and an agent, he'd rather just hire me for everything, right? Because he wants to focus on flipping houses and investing in real estate, not selling houses, right? Some of us are good at different things. So investors for me are one of my sweet spots, but it's also like I talked about with Shannon, is converting that person to an investor. I create investors, right? I create opportunities. So be that person that can create some opportunities like that and find some investors and figure out what they're looking for, figure out what their needs are. What neighborhood do they like to buy in? What's the ideal buy box, what we call it in the investor world? A 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,200 square feet in Spring Valley? Well, cool. Go hunt all those. Go door knock all of those. We're real estate agents, right? We can go after those properties. So if you know exactly what your investor is looking for, you can feed them those deals all the time. And that's really how I closed 227 transactions in 3 years, is I got really good working with an investor and understanding exactly what they buy and knowing that they had deep pockets, that they would buy that deal over and over and over again. So then I just got good at hunting for those deals. We could all do it, right? I'm nobody special. I've been in the game probably shorter than most of you guys, but I just figure out a couple things that I could get really good at, and I just go all in on that.
When you were working with the investors, did you end up finding them more small profits or off market
Good question.
or active listings? Because everybody's on Zillow.
For sure, that's a good question. So there is a combination of off-market and on-market, and leveraging relationships, right? Other agents that you know that maybe have a pocket listing or something coming soon, or somebody that says, I might be interested in selling, but whatever, right? I don't want people walking in my house. I don't want to hire an agent. I don't want to put it on the market. So I'm looking for those deals, right? So it's about those conversations. So I would say it's a pretty good mix. I'm pretty good at hunting deals off market and creating those opportunities, having conversations with a distressed seller. You know, the hard part is sitting on somebody's couch that is miserable, right? Like that's the hard part. And most of the time, selling a house is not easy and it's not as lucrative as they thought, right? Because there's commissions involved, there's expenses involved and things like that. So going after the distressed sellers or getting into those scenarios, while it sounds like it's easy because you can hunt those deals, it's actually a lot harder than serving a normal client. You know?
Well, and I get texts from investors telling clients,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cool. How many of you guys get those from me? I'm just kidding. I don't send those, and I get them too. What do you think I do with them? Yeah. Shannon? Man, I never met you. I know most of the investors here. Are you doing a lot of deals or a little amount of deals? Do you want to do more deals? How big is your bank account? Like, are you looking at doing more deals or are you just trying to find one like lucky deal? And I want to filter that person, right? And for me, if that's an A player, that's a serious person, then I'm going to go deep with them. Well, what are you doing for lunch tomorrow? Right? What are you looking for in the perfect property? Most of them don't know. So my job is to educate my investors and how to become better investors. Right? Yeah. That's it. I'm just a resource. I just add value, right? Figure out what they need, what they're looking for, how can I help them, and how can we do it more, right? Can't work with everybody, but if you're serious and I'm going to put in the work in on my end, you're going to buy every deal I bring you at these criterias. Cool. I'll go find them. Question?
So I have a question regarding that because I absolutely have a tendency just to keep
Yeah.
comes in.
Yeah, keep doing that so I can get them.
But yeah, well, you know,
I'm just kidding.
honestly, I don't know a lot about working with investors. So.
And that's okay.
But my question to you is, I'm curious how many of those people, because I delete them because of the way they come through. Most of the time, there's barely even a name. It's definitely not a last name. And you're just like, hi, I'm Steve. And then I'm like, if that's the way you're presenting yourself, you're not even giving the company you're with or anything, I swipe and I delete.
Yeah.
Because that's how I filter. How many of those texts that you get end up being A players?
Very rare. Yeah, very rare. And this is my game too, right? So I'm looking for it. I'm waiting. Like, I hope somebody texts me right now so I can just call them, right? Like, right in front of you guys. But again, choose your game, right? Like, I want to give you all these resources and lead gen strategies, but they're not all for you, right? Pick and choose which ones are really good for you. Investors are really good for me because I know the language, right? I know what they're looking for. You know, I can talk the talk, right? I've done it a lot of times. So it's a lot easier for me to build that trust and rapport with that investor. So if that's what you want to do, then start focusing on that. Hang out with Jeff more, right? Like learn, and you could do that too if that's what you want to do. I like that game, right? Because for me, business is fun, right? Business is a game, and if I can win that game over and over again, then I'm going to keep playing that. So, good question. Anybody else? All right. Well, I got a couple minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up. Let's see. Connect with me. You can take out your phones, scan the QR code. You can add me to your contacts. Most importantly, though, I would say send me a text message. Most importantly from that is maybe take a picture with me so I remember who you were, or add me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way. And my goal is to add value to a lot more agents, right? I think I've gotten to where I've gotten by building relationships and figuring out how to add value to more people. And because of that, it's allowed me to create some good results. So everybody scan that, everybody good? Last thing I'll mention is one more QR code. So some of you guys know a platform called Skool. So over the last maybe 2-3 weeks, I've been focused on how do I add more value to more people in a bigger way. And I built a small community on Skool in a couple days. And it's because I built a course actually for my team, so I don't have to train the same thing over and over and over again. And that's kind of spilled into this, right? And so because I'm doing more training and conversations with other agents and other investors, I put a little Skool community together. So you can scan that, join the Skool for free. Might not always be free, or there might be some paid stuff in the future. So full transparency, but if you join now, it's going to be free for you for life, or whatever we put out there. And the intention with that is to, again, be a resource, right? If I can figure out how to add more value to you, we have a better chance of doing a deal. I have a better chance of buying a deal from you. I have a better chance of being a resource for you if we can do that. And so feel free, jump in. Most of my team is on there right now, so I literally just opened this up yesterday to my team. But it's literally for everybody, right? It's all about real estate. Of course, you could take it all. You could understand it all. I talked about lead gen today. That's one of the 63 videos in the course. I went a lot more in depth today, but it's for you guys, and it's for me to have a place for people to plug into when I do meet them, right? Because what I found is when I'm networking and connecting with people, it's cool. They can meet me one time, or we can have a conversation or a lunch or a relationship, but I want to give them more value than that. Like, who do you know that's in real estate that can just learn, that can grow, right? So feel free to plug into something like that. If you guys want to collaborate on anything, right? I'm super collaborative on creating content, shooting videos. And so my idea with Skool, and I'll share this with you guys, is to collaborate with other performing agents. And let's do a video, let's do an interview, let's do a podcast right here. They showed me the podcast here, and I was like, man, that's amazing. So let's just do that together, add more value to the people in the community, and see what we can do from that. So that's Skool. If you guys want to jump in that, then I'm excited to have you there. So I got maybe 2-3 more minutes, and then we're going to bring up the man that I came to see. And so any questions that I can help you with right now is the perfect time. You have 3 minutes to ask me literally whatever you want in regards to real estate or business. I will give you whatever I know about that topic. So if you have a question, ask it. And I would challenge you to have good questions. Yeah. I'm with a brokerage called HomeSmart. Yep. Questions? Right now we have 18. Goal is to get to 30. 30 this year. And again, 30 is just a number, right? So my actual goal in relation to 30, it's just because I know the numbers, is to have at least 10 earning 6 figures or more as agents. Yeah. So last year we had a handful. Right? So, yeah. Good question. Any other questions? Anybody have a team or want to build a team? Got a team? That would be a good question. Just giving you a hint. I went from, I didn't share the rest of the story, but I left working with the investor in January of 2023. January 2023 to now, I built a team of 18. So I know how to go fast because I like the game and I like to go fast. So if you want to know how I did that or what we're doing to build value, then ask a good question. Yeah.
How did you start off building some of your goals and things that you went through? I have a team right now of
Yeah, for sure. I would say I do have a coach on the investor side of real estate. And so my coach always tells me and tells most of the students in his coaching program that at some point you have to learn how to transition from being a salesperson to becoming a CEO, right? And I was a salesperson for a long time. And so I would say building a team is a different mindset and it's a different opportunity, right? So for me, in my mind, I have to become less of a salesperson to become a better CEO. And I still have to lead by example, so I still have to produce. So I still outproduce most of the team. But my focus is becoming a better CEO. And so the reason why I built a fast team is because I had to make that adjustment and that switch. And for most of us, that means maybe taking less income in the beginning, right? Because half of your time gets sucked into recruiting, adding value, building systems, building tools, breaking that system, rebuilding it again. And so if you don't have the bandwidth to do that, then it's going to be hard for you to scale up a team. But hopefully that answered your question. I would say mindset-wise, it's a shift.
The next guy I want to introduce to you, I've known him he was correcting me, for 36 years, so for a long time. We were in a different business before we were in real estate. And I reconnected closer with him about 2 years ago. I was in Rio, and he was in Argentina. And so we talked a little bit, and we decided to start this group. And the neat thing about Ken is he's always moving forward. He was the partner of one of the biggest local real estate companies here in San Diego, Ascent. And he decided to go off on his own, start a team, and he's growing it even faster than what he grew Ascent. So he's going to talk to you about luxury real estate. My good friend and one of the brightest real estate persons I know, Ken Pecos.
Oh, I like that. I got the thing. All right. That other thing is with the announcement for next time. Is
yes.
But that's later, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, guys, this was really great. Mike, thank you, because I actually took notes. I hope everybody else took notes. And believe it or not, I'm going to actually try something that Mike said, which it's going to force me to do it, but I'm going to do it just because I'm going to take something from here, like you said, and put it into my life. A couple things I just wanted to talk really quickly about everything I have to say. I think will resonate consistently with what Mike has presented today. There's one thing that he started out with, and I think I want you guys to take a lot of time with this and think this through, is he said, practice and repetition really helps get around that anxiety, right? That nervousness and anxiety. So that is a really big thing. My number one mantra to everybody, the number one thing that can get you past nervousness and anxiety is to know what you're talking about. If you know what you're talking about, there's no nervous or anxiety, correct? Right? Doesn't matter what you're talking about. You could be talking about a quad shot decaf latte with foam, 3 raw sugars and whatever. You know what you're talking about. So the key on everything that I'm always drilling into everybody is product knowledge, product knowledge, product knowledge. Everything Mike said, it's product knowledge. In any moment of that presentation, did you question if he knew what he was talking about? No. There's nothing about that. He didn't practice that. It's all about knowing what you're doing, okay? So same thing is going to go with what I'm going to talk about. We're going to take some stuff pretty fast. We're going to take some stuff pretty slow. Just kind of depends. But that thing. And then one last thing I made a note of is, and I didn't want to interrupt the cadence of his talk, was two things. So he said he has one client that he's now closed four deals with, and how that repeating. I want to tell you, it only accelerates over your time. So I have one that's closed 25 deals with me. I have multiple that have closed between 10 and 15 deals with me. Let me tell you how easy it is when somebody, like the listing appointment I had last night, which is a $3 million listing, and I'm sitting there and I'm prepared. I come with everything, whatever, and the wife says, the husband said something, I can't remember what. Oh, he said, you're only the third person we've told about this. And she immediately jumps to me and says, he means other people. No other agent is talking to us. Immediately, all right? That's a big, big deal, right? And so that's where you want to go, and that's where a product and how you talk to people is. How you talk to people will get you places, all right? I want to just reinforce that. And the last thing I want to reinforce is what he said about sign calls. Sign calls have made me a lot of money. One of those people that I've closed at least 18 deals in a DNA tree that I figured out. And right now I'm currently working with the same person on what would be about 25 million in property, okay? Out of a trust, came from a sign call. Not only did that sign call come from a sign call, it came from a neighbor who told her to call the sign. So, which was really important. So I just want you guys to don't take anything for granted. Don't give away a little sign call. Don't do whatever. It all makes a difference, okay? So today we're going to talk about luxury. It's really important for me to have you think this is going to be about a mind position, all right? You got to get into a mind space, and that's where luxury is. So we're going to start really fast. So here's what I'm going to talk about. Let's define luxury. By the way, you don't have any handouts. I'm not giving you any handouts today. This is only going to come down to what you write down, keep, talk, take pictures. I want you to pay attention to that stuff, and I don't want you looking stuff later on, okay? So we're going to try to define luxury. What are the luxury markets, characteristics of a luxury agent, tools of a luxury agent, getting started, and immersion and critical mass, okay? Everybody kind of understand those topics there? I'm hoping something's going to resonate with you as we get along here, all right? So first, let's define luxury. Some of you might define luxury this way, right? I don't even know all that stuff, but how do you think? How do you think of luxury? How does somebody think of luxury? Anybody in here have any feeling that that's luxury to them? There's no right or wrong answer. This is more of a question. Does that resonate with luxury in your mindset when you're a consumer? Yes, no? Yes? Come on, let's talk. Wake up. Let's do this. All right, what about that? Oh, look at that. That was really fast. Why was that faster? Why do you think that was faster? More expenses, bigger numbers. You're gonna see that, right? If I go there, is that luxury to you, right? Now you're starting to say, oh, this is luxury that's going to lead to my luxury, right? You're going to kind of seeing that, how that's going to go. So it doesn't matter where that view of luxury, it could be this, it could be that. I mean, don't you love those big driveways when you come up? I remember the first house I sold that I had to like wait for the gate to open and go in Rancho Santa Fe. I'm like, cool, this is really neat. I love that luxury. Why would I like that luxury over that luxury? True, but you know what? That house right there is going to be so much easier for me to open than that house, and I bet you that house costs just as much, if not more. You know, just the other one. Just depends on where it is, right? Where you're taking on there. That's luxury. Do you guys agree that's luxury? What about that? Right? Oh, hey, I didn't even recognize that. I sold that. That's 5.1 million. I didn't even read that. Todd's my magic man. He put this whole thing together. So I've only gone through this once. So if I kind of stumble on a slide, whatever. All right. and that. That's luxury, right? Right. So it's a house I closed last year. It's great. Actually, I sold it a couple times. It's really good when you double up those house sales. All right, that's luxury. Now, do you think that's luxury? Could be. Kind of questionable, right? But is it luxury? Who doesn't think it's luxury? Come on, speak up. Okay, what location do you think that is? Just out of the blue.
Is it San Diego County?
It's not San Diego County. Huh? No? Kind of Midwest. Okay, I'll go with Midwest. Okay, this is a trick question. That's Warren Buffett's house. Yeah, but he lives very modestly. Yeah. But Warren Buffett is a majority owner of NetJets. A little while ago, I specifically saw your eyes saying that was luxury with the jets, right? So what am I just trying to get? It's just a fun way to say you have to get in. Luxury is a state of mind, all right? So don't be distracted with this looks this way, this looks this way, this looks this way. Luxury is a state of mind, and that state of mind is your mind, all right? So the key here is we're going to get you into luxury, all right? I like that because if you don't own Berkshire stock, you've been missing out. It was $287 a share on Berkshire B a year and a half ago, and today it's topping 400. Fortunately, I bought it. So pay attention to luxury. All right. All right. Now that we have luxury, where do we define the luxury markets, right? That's what we're all real estate agents. We're looking for luxury markets. So in San Diego, I think we all have our mindset about what luxury markets are, right? Those luxury markets are Rancho Santa Fe, La Jolla, Del Mar, Coronado. Is that reasonable? Are those 4 reasonable luxury markets? All right, cool. Why? Ooh, that's good. I forgot I put that in there. Yeah, why? Coastal. Somebody else. Jordan, why?
What makes them look well?
Yeah, why do you think that's a luxury market?
Price point, the amount of wealth of the people who live there.
Because what? You heard about it?
Because I heard about it.
How do you know?
Yeah, I mean from experience being in those areas, talking to clients.
Okay. Why? Lifestyle. Trudy, why do you think?
I don't know what the word is. Because it's secluded.
Okay, great. I don't know your name. I'm Ken.
Maybe because people have heard like word of mouth that it was, so they, I want to go to Florida, and so they think, let me go to that area to retire, like investors or something.
They feel that way. Yeah. Okay, all good answers. There's no wrong answer. I just want, by doing this, I just want to get into your mind to see where your mind is right now. Okay, so, but is that all there is? So that's 4 luxury markets in San Diego. What about? Oh, that was good. Did that? Did you see that? What about La Playa, Point Loma? Do you guys know where La Playa is? Does everybody here know where La Playa, Point Loma is? Is there anybody that doesn't? Okay, La Playa, Point Loma is probably one of the greatest hidden treasures in San Diego. So if you go down Rosecrans, where everybody and their dog drives and it comes from up and down the base, and you're like, God, who would ever live here? You go down Rosecrans south. By the way, do you know that Point Loma, the point faces south? You're not going west. You're going south. Notice I said that. That's a very important thing because it comes down to product knowledge. Make sure you have that. So you go south once you get past Hill Street, right on the left thing, and you start making the little turns. There's a beach, La Playa, and the houses there are some of the most expensive houses. It also goes on the other side of Rosecrans up into the hill there, but it just depends on how you want to define it. La Playa. Some of the most expensive houses, I think one, Tiffany, which one? 23 million, just close this. So if you didn't know where La Playa is, you should check if you want to be a luxury agent. Santa Luz, you guys know where Santa Luz is? Right? What is the overall name of where Santa Luz is located? Do you guys know what zip code Santa Luz is in? 92129. Come on, let's go. Product knowledge, if you want to be, and by the way, 92129 is not known as a luxury neighborhood, right? It's Rancho Penasquitos. The average price of Rancho Penasquitos is sitting somewhere between 1.1 and 1.2 right now. There's some below $1 million, and the vast topping out on Rancho Penasquitos is 2.2 million. but that is in the same zip code, and Santa Luz in the same zip code. If you've never been up into Santa Luz, it's basically a little bit east of Rancho Santa Fe, east of the Crosby. Average prices in there are going to be between 2 and 5 million. Just depends on what you're looking at. 2 million for the low stuff. Rancho Pacifica. You guys know where Rancho Pacifica is? All right, so you get off of, you're driving 5 north, you exit on Del Mar Heights Road, you take a left on El Camino Real, take El Camino Real all the way around when you get into where the equestrian area is. You take a hard right turn onto, what is that, Fairbanks Ranch that you hit to, yeah, I'm forgetting what the street is, but then you're driving right there, you can see the horse racetrack in the background, Del Mar's over there. It's the thing up in the hill. You drive by Rancho Pacifica all the time. You just don't realize it because there's a little turn you have to turn. And when you get up there, you get into one of those gates, and there's a guard. And then you go in there. And the average price, the average property in Rancho Pacifica is somewhere between 8,000 square feet to 14,000 square feet, all on one level. Got it? I've been in a house in there where I was going to look at it. 2 people, empty nesters. They wanted more room because they're going to have kids, the grandkids and everybody come and visit. They had a golf cart in the house to take them around. All right? Okay. Rancho Pacifica. Everybody knows Leucadia, right? Okay, Leucadia. Olivenine? You guys know? And by the way, these were just off the top of my head because I had to give Todd this program in 30 minutes. I said, oh God, yeah, here you go. All right, so that's something else I'm letting you know. It's right off the top of my head.
Where's Olivenheim?
Olivenheim is north of Encinitas. Okay, south of Carlsbad, west of Rancho Santa Fe. If you go what does Encinitas Road turn into? Encinitas Boulevard. If you keep going east. Todd. No. Damn it. I thought you were living there. Okay, Rancho Santa Fe. It goes into Rancho Santa Fe. You just keep taking it down, okay? So you have to know where these places are. But let me just ask you another question. Who is a first-time or a first-time buyer, predominantly a newer buyer or seller market? Who's working in that market? And let me pick one. Okay. Anybody here working in, I was just in the restroom and somebody said you're in South Bay. Who was that? Okay. So what neighborhood do you work in?
Eastlake.
Eastlake. Okay. So if you work in Eastlake, which part? There's, which zip code? Okay. So you're in Rolling Hills, closer? Okay. Do you guys see that? Right? So that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. This is not transferable because it's luxury. It's because you're a real estate agent, and if you want to be thought of as an expert, as who you are, whatever, you need to go to school, university. You need to spend some time learning your product. All right, Cardiff by Sea. Cardiff by the Sea. Everybody knows Cardiff by the Sea, right? Do you really? Are you sure you know Cardiff by the Sea? Where's it?
Seaside, over by Carlsbad area, right?
Yeah, if you went to Carlsbad, you've just passed it way down.
I know how to get to the market for the tri-tip.
You know how to get right. I know. Cardiff Crack. That's what you know. You're talking about the Cardiff Crack. But that's good because how did I just say that? You said that? You said tri-tip? And I go, Cardiff Crack, right? So there's something. Is Cardiff Crack luxury? Is Cardiff Crack luxury? Right? It is. Have you ever had it? It's so luxury. All right, but I'm getting to a point eventually here, right? Sunset Cliffs. Everybody knows Sunset Cliffs, right? Okay, so let me tell you. So, what is the biggest biggest institution in Sunset Cliffs? Anybody? Who did it? Cool. Tiffany and you guys go. You pass. Yeah. Oh, Doug did too? Okay.
Oh, and the LaPlaya was 12.7, sorry.
I was like 23?
Yeah, the 23 was in Del Mar, sorry.
Okay, okay.
Same guy, but different area.
Got it. Okay, okay. Jason? Yeah, Jason Berry, yeah.
12.7 over LaPlaya.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, God, did you guys just notice that? What did I just say? Jason? Yeah. What did I just say? Jason? She said, oh no, it's 12.7. I go, oh, okay. When she said it was 23, I didn't say anything because because I just assumed I missed something. She said 12.7. I go, oh, Jason, what does that say? That says that's Jason Berry that just sold an estate there that is part of an estate, part of a family that has been selling all over San Diego. Okay. It's kind of impressive, right? Yeah, I think so. Come on. Go with that. All right. For the record, the top San Diego zip codes are Rancho Santa Fe. That's its national rank. This is as of 2023. Average price. Number 2 is Del Mar. National rank number 51 out of the top 100. Number 3 is Coronado, 2.2. Number 61 nationally. Surprise! Cardiff Crack. Isn't that amazing? Cardiff Crack is the 4th and in the top 100 in the country. And then number 5 is La Jolla. Now, anybody tell me why La Jolla is below Cardiff Crack? Come on, let's go. No, not you. I want somebody else. Let's go. Somebody over here.
Pulling the zip code over from the UTC area?
UTC zip. What is the UTC zip code? That's no. That's La Jolla. That's 92122 is UTC. That's the question I asked.
So Mount Soledad.
So it depends on where it goes up on Mount Soledad because at a certain point it goes into 92037. Otherwise, it's 92109, right? Okay. So La Jolla is exactly what it is. It's pulling in. La Jolla has a bigger zip code. That's why they're attempting to be a city, which they never will be. And they have a huge number of multi-units on the east side near 5. There's a lot of condos that blends in, and these are average prices. If you take some of those things away, it changes the economics of it all. Okay, there you go. This is all just for fun. This has nothing to do with my thing except for this last one here. All right, so these are the top 100 national zip codes. Somebody tell me, why do I say somebody that I don't know? Come on. There's a whole bunch here I don't know. Let's try. I know you. I'm going to look at this whole thing. One of you guys. Tell me why. What makes you say, on that?
They're all in San Diego.
Okay, they're on San Diego, but tell me something else. Come on. Think this through. Okay. You give up? All right. Who knows what 3005 boundary is? Does anybody know where that is? No? Okay. Well, that's just the latest house that went into escrow in North Park on one of the busiest streets for $2 million. Oh my God. Is North Park a luxury neighborhood? I just listed a property on Calmia. It's on the other side of boundary. It's not even in the good side of boundary, right? It's not even in Burlingame. It's not even in Morley Field. And we just listed at $2 million to $2,149,000. Huh. God, that's Coronado. Wait, is Boundary, is Calmia, is that luxury? Is that luxury? It's a state of mind. It's a state of mind, okay? This is what I want to open your minds up to. And once again, it's your state of mind, and it's going to be the seller's state of mind. As soon as they start thinking that their house is $1 million, as soon as they start thinking their house is $2 million or $2.5 million, they think it's a state of mind. Anthony and I just had a listing appointment, and the seller was saying a bunch of stuff. Well, doesn't somebody at $2 million, they will be able to pay their real estate agent their commission? We shouldn't pay we're going through this whole thing. And I'm like, I hate to be the one to tell you, but $2 million is not hacking it anymore, all right? I use that for that moment to get us through the commission issues. It's fine, she's offering out a commission. But at the same time, it was really important for you to understand where these price points are. Because if you understand where these price points are, you're going to be able to talk the way you need to talk. And if you can talk the way you need to talk because you understand what you're saying, you're not going to be nervous or having anxiety. Ever. All right. First thing is self-confidence. So I think in the last 15 minutes, I can probably demonstrate to you I have self-confidence. Right? If you're going to be a luxury agent, if you're going to be any real estate agent, don't even if this is your first deal or second deal, you need to develop self-confidence. Don't be the one that says, oh yeah. Don't be the one that sits back and waits for the answers, whatever. You need to take control. And how do you take control? You take control because you know your product. It doesn't matter what you know your product. If it's an investor that Mike was talking about before, you know your product. What do investors like? When he said, how big is your bank account? You might have like said, whatever. No, I haven't used those words, but I've said, I will say, what is your funding source? How much do you have? How much do you have available? If you're not able to say those words and understand why you need to ask that and understand whatever that reaction is, and then come back and talk, you're not prepared. You're not prepared because you haven't done enough homework. Not because you can't do it, not because you don't know how to do it, not because you are an introvert or anything like that. It's just because you haven't done your homework and you don't know why that's important. As soon as you know why it's important, anxiety goes away. Because anybody can talk about this, Anybody can say whatever they want to say. Follows extensive knowledge. It's just, you just have to have this. I'll keep repeating. You will never hear me stop saying about product knowledge. Well presented physically. Curb appeal, right? And I'm talking about you. So, when you're in a luxury market, and we had the first thing, what is your definition of luxury? You don't have to look like some Instagram make-believe whatever. You just have to present yourself as somebody that understands how to do it. I'm not dressed in anything luxury. There's a real estate agent thing on me, whatever. This is whatever. But anybody I go to, if somebody calls me, like Mike says, I hope somebody calls me. Well, I do too. Because I hope somebody says, hey, I have a house that I want you to come and talk to. And I don't care where it is in San Diego, they can call and talk to me about that house. And I'll go talk to them, and I'm set for that. I don't need to go home and I need to put myself in another space. Every single day that you're an agent, that you're a luxury agent, you need to wake up in the morning, you need to dress the part of a successful real estate agent. If you are selling 10 $400,000 condos or $200,000 mobile homes, dress that way. If the people that are buying at $200,000 or selling at $200,000, that is the biggest investment that they probably have in their life. Treat it that way. There's nothing more important than treating the client and letting them know that they count and that they're not an afterthought. You do the same thing from $200,000 to $2 million to $20 million. You don't treat anything differently. And as soon as you stop trying to treat it differently, you'll stop treating a luxury agent differently in your mind. There's no difference. There's no difference. Availability. Is that different from being a real estate agent? A regular real estate agent? If somebody wants something, you're not going to be more available because somebody, or less available because somebody in Loma Portal suddenly calls you and has a $2 million house versus somebody in La Jolla calls you and says, I have a $10 million. No, you're going to treat this because you're treating everything as a business. Okay, negotiating skills. You need negotiating skills no matter what you do. It's just a difference in mindset about what you're negotiating. Sometimes you're negotiating emotion. Sometimes you're actually negotiating assets. Sometimes you're just negotiating because the other person just wants to negotiate and they have to win. And you have to recognize when somebody else wants to win. If they want to win, you have to figure out, how do I let them win? And that goes for an agent, that goes for a seller, that goes for a buyer. It doesn't matter. Remember, it doesn't matter who wins. If what matters is that you get your way. Okay?
Everybody wants to feel like a winner.
Everybody wants to feel like a winner. Let them. In fact, it's a much better feeling. It's so much more fun to go to a party where everybody has won than when you or just somebody else are the winners and everybody else is, sucking it up because they don't whatever. It is way better to go, and I'm going to tell you, it's way better to go to a party with a room full of 10, 15, 20 real estate agents that have all made $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000 than you're the only one that made that money or somebody else, and then they expect you to take the bill. It's so much better going to the room where everybody is successful. Pick up your own tabs, all right? I'm not going to do that. Just pick up your own tabs. It's way more fun. I'm just telling you this. Well connected. This floats right back to what Mike was talking about, being connected. It comes back to the networking and how you're going into the networking and what you're doing. There is nothing that Mike put in the first part of this presentation about how to lead generate does not apply to luxury. Every single thing, down to the sign call, down to the open house, every single thing applies back to luxury, okay? So what that should tell you is being a real estate agent is just being a real estate agent, okay? It's not about luxury. It's not about where it is. It's about choice, and we'll get into that in a minute. All right, so let's talk about the important tools of luxury agents. And if that first thing was to try to show you this hopefully will show you these are critical, okay? I mean, so like if this entire presentation, this is the most critical thing. This might be the most difficult thing for you guys to get, but this is the most critical thing. Access to writing contract. That's called MLS. What is it called? Who does that? Well, okay, I don't do it. Zip forms. I knew it. There's something right. I haven't been on Zip forms in years. So, just here. I have people for that. Don't judge me. I can see that judging over there. All right, access to writing. A schedule book or an app. I have a schedule book over there where Paul is, okay? And now we're getting an app too. That means, why do you want a schedule book app? So you can write your appointments in. MLS Access, so you can look for stuff. A car.
Century Lock app.
A restaurant or a cafe. Oh, let's go that first. And a repeatable marketing system. All right, so somebody tell me in this list what is different than this than selling a $500,000 condo in North Park. Is there anything different in there? No. Okay, there isn't. There isn't anything different. That is all it takes to be a luxury agent. Okay? That is all it takes to be. The repeatable marketing system, that's a little bit different, but it can be done if you're an independent person. It can be done at any company that you're with. I don't care if you're at a company like ourselves, like EXP, or a cloud brokerage. It can be done at any company. It could be at Coldwell Banker. It could be at Keller Williams. It's about doing it. So a repeatable system. So I'm going to demonstrate ours, EXP, but if you're not with us, go look at your company and see what they have, because you don't have to recreate the wheel. Don't rebuild the wheel. What's important with luxury is that you have all this stuff. What's important for everything is that you have all this stuff set so you don't have to think about this, because it's the sellers and other people see the media and all this sort of stuff. It has nothing to do with that. It's all up here in how you can talk to people. Because as soon as you can talk to people like I can talk to people, and it's not difficult to do if you actually pay attention, you can do whatever you want to do. So with EXP, it's super easy. We have a system. I just use a system. I just put it in, and it churns it out. For us, it goes right into the individual ads, where I need it to go. Because these are the things for luxury. There's certain words that you have to get people to trigger on, especially if we're talking luxury in the traditional sense. Luxury in the traditional sense would be anybody that thinks that they have a product that's going to attract a luxury. So luxury would be anybody. Sometimes they're at $1 million, they're at $2 million. But what if you were at $2 million in Allied Gardens, right? So the average price in Allied Gardens is $1.3 million, $1.2 million, $1.4 million, $1.5 million, $1.6 million, depending upon where you go. When you start going to $2 million in Allied Gardens, you see them more in Del Cerro, but you don't really see it as much in Allied Gardens or San Carlos. So in that seller mind, in their mind, they probably think they're at the top of the market and they're in luxury, right? So it behooves you to have that mindset when you go in and to take whatever you've prepared to be luxury and then treat that seller, tell them, well, I think you're in the luxury segment of this sub-market, right? So that's what I use. It's just easy. You just put it in. Let's see, what's the next one? Okay, surprise. The only difference between a luxury agent and an agent is state of mind, desire, and comprehensive action plan. That's what we're going to do here. But going back to having stuff done. The listing appointment I said yesterday that I went to when the seller says, don't worry, we haven't talked to anybody else. I have my own luxury stuff. The stuff is set. I call. If you don't have an assistant, it's no big deal. You just have to have the system in place. So I call. My luxury stuff is all already pre-done. It's already done. All it requires is for me to give my assistant what comps I'm going to put in there. They put it in. They seal it. It's in my office. It's done. They get a bunch of flyers, luxury stuff. It's a system. This is done for me in less than 25 minutes because I've done all the hard work before to be prepped for it, okay? So if you're going to be a listing agent, I don't care whatever the listing it is. It doesn't have to be luxury. You need a system in place. If you haven't spent the time to have a system put in place, that is the first thing you need to do. You need to do that. And it shouldn't take you any more than a day or two. If you are spending a week to think about this, 2 weeks to think about this, you are overthinking this ridiculously, okay? The biggest thing that's going to get in your way is overthinking everything. So don't overthink. I just brought this just to show you. It doesn't matter what's in there, but your books and everything should have information about you, should have information about your company. It should have referrals, reviews by your clients. And just have it on your computer and then print it out in nice paper. That's all you have to do. And if you don't want to do heat sealing, if you don't have that, if you do not have this, take it one step down. Take it into the binding. If you don't have that, take it into a nice folder. If you don't have nice folders, go buy some. Okay? You cannot be, and this is, I'm like Mike. I don't like to spend money I don't buy leads. I don't do anything. Everything is done by referral. Everything is done by referral. So have these tools. But if you can see it, they're not, so far, I haven't used the word social media for me, right? I haven't used, it doesn't require that. You can do that. You can validate yourself. You can do whatever, but that's not where your deals are going to come in my experience. Okay. Let's move on. Anybody have a question about how to prepare for it before I go on? Just take a little step real here. Nothing? Is it so far so good? That was enough time for me to drink. All right. Somebody tell me when it's 12:20 so I know I have 10 minutes. What is it now? Is it 12:20? Damn. This goes by so fast. Okay, I'm only at the plan. Let's get started on the plan. Obey. Getting started. Be clear, where is your ideal market? Okay, so you have to have direction. You have to know what you're going to do. If that ideal market is whatever market you're in now, if it's Coronado, if it's Del Mar, whatever, define it. It's really important. And don't say, I'm just a luxury agent. Don't be just a real estate agent. Define where you want to go and what you want to do. Clarity has a huge benefit in this. Next one. Here's some things if you want to go luxury and you're not living in a luxury neighborhood, you should avoid. Don't pick gated communities. It's really hard to it's really hard to market a gated community if you're stepping outside the gate, okay? Simple. Don't pick a market that requires a long commute. If you live in South Bay and you want your market to be Del Mar, it's not going to work very well. It's going to be a big uphill. If you live in South Bay, Rolling Hills or what's the other one? The Gates. It's going to be way better. Have your commute somewhere close, or even Coronado. If you live in South Bay, Coronado could be, because that's a fairly easy commute up, right? But don't pick like a North County. Like I live in East Lake, and my market is Santa Luz. It can be, and you can be successful at it, but you're putting a lot of needless roadblocks up for you, okay? The best market to have as luxury is the one that's closest to you. This one is super important for not only luxury, it's important for any market you want to farm. You have to look at what the property turnover rate is in your market. Everybody wants to sell in certain markets, but if you've got four properties selling, every 6 months, or even 4 properties selling every month, it might not be enough. That's not enough turnover, okay? Some people might be selling it or whatever, but you're probably going uphill again. So be intelligent about which market you want turnover. La Jolla has turnover, Del Mar has turnover, Solana Beach, Cardiff, Coronado has turnover, La Playa, Point Loma, they all have turnover. You want turnover, you want to know where people are dying, death, destruction, divorce, being fired from their jobs, because right now, those other people are just kind of hanging out with their interest rates. They haven't quite moved it yet, right? So pay attention to where people are selling, okay? Okay, chart out your market geographically for boundaries if you don't live close. I said that already, service. Okay, yeah, this is important. Luxury market, especially if you don't live in the luxury market. Super important that you pick a luxury market that has a commercial district. It has basic recreation, coffee houses, cafes, schools, because you attack luxury, absolutely, it is the old boy network, except it's usually old girl network, okay? But I'm using that as a thing. Luxury is so based on networking and who you know and how you know it. And so the key is, instead of sitting there and thinking to myself, I don't know anybody. I rent a car in the middle of North Park. How am I ever going to react, whatever. That's a state of mind. That's what you're choosing to have. You're going to fail because you choose to fail. You don't have an excuse, and I'm just going to tell you that now. So right now, and if in your brain you're saying that I'm just telling you right now, you're doing it because you choose to do it. It's not because you can't do it. I know plenty of people that have done it, that have had nothing, that have whatever, and they choose. You guys know Ryan Serhant? Have we had? Who knows him? Right, okay. $1 billion company now. Whatever, we all know him, where he started with $1 million listing in New York. Do you know his background? If you don't know his background, read like 4 of his books. But his background, before he got that job, he was a struggling actor. And he was schlepping rentals in New York City, living in an apartment that had a shared bathroom down the hall with all the other apartments in this. This is while he auditioned for $1 million listing. Do you think if he thought to himself, I just live here, whatever? No. I mean, it's really inspiring. If you read some of these people, we like to make fun of like reality TV or Kardashians or whatever. No, they're all brilliant business people, and you need to pay attention to them. Take your own belief and value structure away and start understanding what other people are doing. So there is nothing that you're doing right now that is an impediment to being who you want to be except you. If you choose not to, you're not going to. If you choose to, then the next step is the action. Okay, getting started. Next step. All right. You've picked your place. You know where you're going to be. You know where you want to. I'm going to use Coronado, for instance, just because I have an office there and it's a little bit easier for me to just relate. But the first thing you need to do is you need to print out page 1 format of your on the MLS of every active and pending sale. And this is important. If there's too many, your area is too big. Okay? If there's too many, your area is too big. You need to go and get inside every one of those active listings. You need to call the agent. You need to preview it. If it's on BrokerCare, you need to get inside. How can you sell in a luxury market if you don't know the luxury product? How can you sell in any market? How can you sell in Allied Gardens, San Carlos, Del Cerro if you don't know the market? What a lot of people do, what a lot of new agents do, what a lot of agents along the way, they wait to be told what their client wants, and then they go start looking. No. That's all reversed. You need to know the product right up front. If you're not doing something this afternoon and you have nothing scheduled, what you should be doing is you should be getting into property anywhere. I mean, you should never have a time that I have an open afternoon. Not if you want to do what Mike said, not if you want to make $1 million in 3 years, or not if you want to make $1 million every year, or not if you want to make $5 million every year. You're not going to just sit in your house and have these open times if that's what your goal is. But let's say your goal is not to do that much. Let's say your goal is just to be that agent in that market. You should not have not gone in any property in your market, okay? And that includes pending. You try to get into the pending because you don't know. For the sales, the sold, same thing. You want to drive by. You probably can't get them because they've sold or whatever, but you need to go, drive by them, stand, get out of the car, look at it, do a little pirouette, see where it is, because you cannot sell in the market unless you know what you're selling, okay? It's real estate 101, but in the luxury segment, luxury space, they'll flush you out in 2 minutes because people that have a lot of money, they want to know who else has a lot of money, and they see all the other houses, and if you don't know one of the things that they know, you're dead, okay? You need to know everything that your potential client knows on there, and you need to be ahead of it. Okay. All right. Same thing. This is real estate 101 for whatever you do, but it's even more in the luxury space. Learn every street and nuance of your target market. Learn the differences in view. Commit statistics to the nation, to the mind. Nationwide, I do it all. I love the statistic. If you get it, it's price per square foot. It really seems to trigger people now. It actually kind of got really popular during the TV shows. When you went into those TV shows, price per square foot, when they started, it wasn't a big deal in San Diego. I know it. But now people pay attention to price per square foot everywhere across the country. So understand price per square foot in the different market. Learn the commercial district and where everything is. You have to understand how the commercial district works. And then learn the history of the town and the neighborhood. Because in a luxury segment, everybody is in everybody's business. And they want to know that. And you need to be connected in. And you can be connected in. It's just whether or not you want to do it. Okay? Here's more stuff. Go on Broker Caravan. Join the local board. All the stuff. I don't waste a lot of time in those type of activities, but I do think you need to know every major agent and player in that luxury segment. There is not one agent in Coronado that I can't call right now, and if they're available, they'll pick up the phone for me, or I can leave a message and they will call me back. All right? Because if they're playing in Coronado, they know I'm playing in Coronado. If they're playing in North Park or Mission Hills or Point Loma or South Park or Kensington or Normal Heights, they will call me back. They will call me back if they didn't pick up the phone. That is a skill set you can develop. You can get people to have that because, especially in the luxury segment, who you know, how you know it, and their confidence in you in closing a deal, is a huge, huge benefit to being that luxury agent, okay? Same thing. This is what I teach everybody all the time. Go to every open house in this market, weekends, weekdays, it doesn't matter, you go. And super important, you need to start leaving your card everywhere you go. When Jeff said about Lauren leaving 1,000 cards within a week, that is like so great. It is beyond great. Leave your card everywhere you go. And stop using, here, let me give you my card with your phone. Okay, look, I think you guys think it's really, effective, and you think it's really neat and whatever. Do that. Give a paper card or a business card because they have to knowingly throw it away. What usually happens is they don't knowingly throw it away. If you're standing there, they'll put it in their wallet. Oh, okay, thank you. And they'll put it in, and they'll forget it's there. Okay? And then later on, they get it or they're at their desk. They don't throw it away. I say, oh, and whenever it is, and they'll keep it. Most of the time, they keep it. So you want to have your name. You can take their stuff if you want, put them in your phone, but when it's for yours, you have to get known. In order for you to strike out, you have to get up to bat, right? You have to get up to bat if you want to strike out or hit a home run or hit a single or hit a double. So it's all about getting up to bat. You have to understand that. So leave that business card, do whatever you need to do. Bottom line, you need to not only get to know the players, you want the players to start recognizing you in a good way. All right, in a good way. So let's go back. What's a good way? Everybody wants to stand out. You can stand out, and it doesn't mean you're not going to be super successful in that way. But when you're first trying to immerse yourself in a neighborhood, You want to be a little more subtle, especially with the other players. You want to just get to know them, because if there's one thing I can tell you about high-end neighborhoods and high-end agents, they are snotty beyond belief. Why do you think that is? Anybody? Why do you think agents are the way they are in some of these neighborhoods? They're protective. They're territorial. They're everything. You got to kiss ass. What you have to do is you have to just blow smoke up their butts and make them feel like, oh my God, whatever, because you have to learn. You have to learn how they are. You have to learn where they go, how they think, because the more you learn, that's what you're going to be able to do when you get into deals, when you talk to clients, when you talk to buyers, and you can say what I just said. Well, wait, let me just call Scott and see what he thinks. I could actually do that right now, but I'm not going to do that. And say and get somebody to pick up a phone. That's a big deal. So right now, they might not. If you've never done this before, they might not. That's because you have chosen not to be this person up until now. If you're choosing to be this person, you have to go do it. And it's like Mike said, you can't put it on social media. It's not about putting a social media thing here and then 2 or 3 weeks later. And so it's not about, I'm only going to do this like I'm only going to go through Caravan or I'm going to go through a house. No. It has to be every day. I walk the streets. I have this shirt, every color you can imagine and 2 of them, in 2 black, 2 blue, 2 light blue, 2 dark blue. Everywhere I go, I'm wearing it. It's on purpose. It is on purpose. I know sometimes you think it's like whatever. No, it's on purpose. It's constantly reinforcing who I am or whatever. I go into Starbucks, I go into Clayton's, I go anywhere I go. People just see me walking up and down the street. It's fine. I do it in Mission Hills. I do it wherever I go. You don't want to be that hidden secret agent that nobody knows, okay? You just want to get people to understand who you are. Let's see. Biggest one. And going back about money, I haven't given you any money here, right? There's nothing about, I need you to put these $500 and $2,000 a week ads. We're not talking about that. That's not going to do anything. It's going to go into the trash can in a week. Do not get sucked into these vendors and these media people that say, let me go and you can do this ad and you're always going to show up in the paper. I have a paper. It's exclusive. I've had it for whatever. It's what I use not to get attention for me to become an agent. It's what I use to settle down my potential sellers to say, oh yeah, I have that. But I know very well that paper doesn't do anything for me to getting my deals. The deals don't come from there. It's just media validation. You don't need to spend that kind of money. That's what you can do. Okay? Dogs, walks, golf. How many people have heard, golf? Golf is the key. Golf is the key. Why? Because golf is a really expensive sport. Who plays expensive sport? People that have money. That's why people always spend the time on the golf course. And what do you do on the golf course? And by the way, I don't, because I really can't hit that ball. But we're in the golf course right here, right? This is what we're at. So, but tennis, pickleball, soccer, anything you do, but don't do an individual sport. You have to do a team or collective. Otherwise, you're not talking to people. This is a full contact sport. Real estate's a full contact sport. You can spend your time at the Starbucks in North Park. You can spend your time at the Starbucks in South Chula Vista, or you can spend your time at the Starbucks in La Jolla. Just go to Starbucks every day, though. Make sure they understand what your order is. Make sure that's when you know. When you come in, when you're standing outside of Starbucks on your phone and you're talking and you're going like this, whatever, and somebody comes out the door and hands you your drink multiple times, you're going to the Starbucks enough. Because that's what happens with me. Okay? So you have to, it's repetition. It's repetition and practice that Mike said earlier for the other things. It's repetition, but it's where you put yourself. It's not how much money you're spending. It's how often people are seeing you in the same thing that will generate a conversation, that'll start talking, and because you have done all the background stuff, all the work to become product, to understand the product, to absolutely understand what you're doing, they will then talk to you seriously about potentially representing them one way or the other. That's the way it happens. Okay, so everything like that, and by the way, Todd is going to send this out to everybody that came here, so if you don't remember it, I was just kind of joking at the beginning in case I could get you to write stuff. Here, one more thing, sports, super important. If you do have a little bit of money, kids, get to kids. It's because kids have parents, and parents attend these little games. They do whatever. I sponsor every sports kids team, softball, whatever. I do that, but I don't put ads because ads get thrown in the trash can. Presents. So you not only want to sponsor, then you actually want to go. You want to watch. You want to watch the stuff. And if you don't sponsor, and you have a kid somewhere, take the kid, go. If you don't have a kid, see if you can find just rent a kid, do whatever. Kids are the best ever, okay? Especially in the luxury segment. In the luxury segment, unless you're downtown, kids are the best. And if you have kids and you're not using them, send it to me. I can do this. Like Shannon, yacht club, golf club, tennis, gym. Gym is great. Coffee at the same time. Okay, I said all that stuff. Conclusion. People that buy and sell in luxury markets live, breathe, exist just the same. Just the absolute same, okay? So, do I have anything more? In order to break into the luxury market, you have to first know the luxury product. In order to break into the luxury market, you have to know the people. You have to know the history. You have to know the underlying finances of that stuff. That's all stuff that we just didn't have time in today, but there's the method to how you deal with that. It's all learned the same way. Just like you learn the product, you learn that the same way. And they need to know who you are and have reasonable desire to contact you to discuss their real estate needs. Whew, I did that. How close? Yeah? All right. Just want to give you a quick thing for our next month. And I'm going to give you good things for next month. I know people, if you have any questions, I'm going to stay around to answer questions. But for next month, we have an awesome system here. An awesome speaker here. If you don't know Roxanne Grovari, she has been a local broker owner of Pemberley Realty for many, many years. She is a top local. Well, actually, I think she just opened a second office in Encinitas, even. So she is going to be giving all her secrets, all her talks on how to systematize yourself into a very efficient business. Our very own Tiffany Trost, who is our Director of Agent Development, is going to be acting as the host and moderator, and the two of them, and she's going to be facilitating the conversation because there's going to be a lot of conversation. And Tiffany herself is probably the most neurotic system person I know. And if you've ever been dealing with her, you know it. And so my whole life is so much better because of how Tiffany does that. So if you guys are scattered and whatever, they're going to give you their boilerplates. They're going to give you their systems on how to put some of this stuff in place. So that's our next one in March, on March 14th here, same time, same bat channel, everything. Did I do it?
You did great.
Awesome.